Hello and welcome to Taiwan Talks. I'm Min Kavat. Despite Beijing's soaring influence, Chinese strategists still face a problem first coined in 2003 called the Malacca Dilemma. This is the possibility that, particularly during wartime, the US Navy could blockade transits of China-destined cargo through the Strait of Malacca, such as oil imports from the Middle East. Decades later, could a land bridge across southern Thailand, together with Cambodia's Funan Techo Canal, be part of a solution to Beijing's long-standing headache? Joining us to discuss this today are Lai I-chung, Prospect Foundation President, and Yan-ping Su, National Chengchi University Political Science Professor. A very warm welcome to both of you today on the show. Ever since the 17th century, Thai kings and leaders have dreamt of building a canal on the Kra Isthmus, the narrowest section of the Malay Peninsula between Ranong and Chumphon provinces. Centuries later, the dream has still not come to reality. But in 2023, former Thai Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin revisited the idea of a Kra land bridge project, connecting east to west via road and rail with deep water ports on both coasts. Thailand's Kra Isthmus measures 90 kilometres east to west, and a land bridge would link the Gulf of Thailand to the Andaman Sea, bypassing the Strait of Malacca. Thailand expects the land bridge to shave 6 to 9 days off the current journey and reduce transportation costs by 15% between the Pacific and Indian Oceans. Now, in January 2024, the draft plans for the project, which is expected to cost around $30 billion, were to complete the first phase by 2030, with the final completion targeted in 2039. Following Thavisin's removal, his successor, Pathongtham Shinawatra, has not yet confirmed her intentions, though she has said she looks forward to more cooperation with China. The land bridge concept was first proposed by her father, Thaksin Shinawatra, in 2005. President Lai, let me start with you first. So the idea for a canal or land bridge is nearly 400 years old. Can you tell me what were the factors that have stood in the way of it becoming reality, and whether any of those factors change now?
I believe that first of all is about the engineering challenge, which the natural geography, although a lot of people would say that the Panama Canal and the Suez Canal, people also constructed, so that why not the Kra Isthmus? But the geography itself is very punishing, so that is the first thing.
Just to pick you up on one point before we go any further. You said that there were engineering difficulties, but how would that compare to something that China's already completed, which is in Pakistan, the economic corridor there through some very, very treacherous terrain in terms of insurgency, and also the height cutting through mountains in the northern.
I think it basically has to do with the soil as well as the rock decomposition of it, and how that become an issue. But I would say that since the geography and the geological character in different locations, they're all different. So I'll just leave it there. But I think right now the biggest obstacle for constructing this canal, this project, is actually about the Thailand society. They're not very enthusiastic about this project. And one big concern, especially among the Thai people, is that this canal actually will make the 4 provinces in the south, many of them are dominated by the Muslim population, to become a semi-independent nations. That will make it difficult for Thailand to really incorporate them, which before the construction of canal in the history, especially during the 60s and 70s, were rampant about the communist rebellions. And then during the 80s and 90s, that the religious differences also become an issue.
Yeah. So Professor Su, just picking up on that, there's also though the issue that insurgency also comes from the feeling of being marginalized, of being sort of deprived areas in terms of government resources. And this project, well, the government says it hopes that it could boost the Thai government's annual budget by $370 billion, and that it would also bring some economic revival to those areas too, including providing jobs for up to 280,000 workers. Do you think that given these problems that we know, societal resistance, do you think that the new PM would be as keen on this project as the former PM?
Yes, I believe so. Well, first of all, what Professor Lai just said is about the previous idea of building a canal, right, in the Cloud Isthmus. But right now, their new idea, well, actually not that new, but the idea is to build a so-called land bridge, which is less costly and probably less environmentally costly. And
because we're talking about highways and railroad rather than actually cutting the country into two.
Right, and I agree with you that, yeah, it is true that one byproduct about this project is the increasing of the employment, and probably they can, this project can bring some benefit to the local people, but we cannot ignore that the primary goal of this project is to build a kind of connection, over land connection between Andaman Sea and the Gulf of Thailand, and that is probably the most important strategic goal for building such a land bridge. And it is, of course, some Thai people, politicians, and local groups have some concerns, and the concern depend on whether, how much China will involve.
So sovereignty is also an issue that they're worried about.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if the project, if China involved too much in the project, it is this project can provide China with the capacity to project its military power without relying on Malacca Strait. So in that sense, it could solve the Malacca Dilemma to some extent.
Okay, so President Lai, essentially bypassing the Malacca Strait, this project therefore would benefit Beijing most, next to Thailand. Do we know if there has been any expressed interest from China?
Definitely, China is the one that really want to bring this project to life. So that there were some propositions by Chinese engineering companies. I forgot about the name, but there was a record about the proposal to the Thai government about constructing this canal, or later probably a land bridge on this. But I also like to say that if you compare the proposed canal, that in comparison with the Panama Canal or the Suez Canal, both Panama Canal, Suez Canal, they are talking about how the construction of this canal can help you to lessen the trip and also the distance by a large miles. The Panama Canal basically help you to really get through and avoid the issue about the very dangerous water in the near the South Pole. And also the Suez Canal also help you to get through the southern tip of the African continent. But how about this Canal, which can only get through what, the Singapore? This economic benefit only to save about 6 to 9 days. That is not a very convincing argument to a lot of people, especially when...
but only to China, because of the geopolitical issue of the Malacca Dilemma.
But also the issue is that the infrastructures associated with this the canal is not competitive with what they already have within the Singapore. Singapore is a world famous, and that they have the very completed infrastructure to house all the megaton to the mid-sized ships for every kind of cargo ships. But how about Thailand? Do they have this? So in order to to construct this canal, you also need to construct another important port that could at least help you to rival about Singapore. And then on opposite side of the Gulf of the Thailand, the Gulf of Siam, and there it is the Cambodia. Cambodia, they do not have that kind of infrastructure either. So by constructing this canal, the kind of economic benefit does not really strike very promising to a lot of people.
So you're saying for other international actors, it wouldn't make sense commercially?
Yes, right now.
Okay, so Professor Su, if we can touch now on, the relations between Thailand and the US. So, for example, Thailand is friendly with China, but it's also a US treaty ally. So, how do China-Thai and US-Thai relations compare?
Well, probably since a decade ago, Thailand and China started to forge a very close relationship with each other. Was the protests in Hong Kong, and actually, one dissident from Hong Kong was sort of kidnapped in Thailand, and Thai government turned a blind eye on that. So basically, both governments work very closely on all sorts of issues, also including that kind of overseas domestic issue in a sense. And but of course we cannot ignore that in 2022, Thailand and the U.S. signed an MOU about this strategic plan. But so. Basically, there is a term called bamboo diplomacy. So that is a strategy played by Thailand. But compared to the relationship between Thailand and the United States, I believe that the relationship between Thailand and China is much better.
Is much stronger.
Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, if this is going to work as a possible alternative to the Malacca Strait, then that would mean that it couldn't again, this passage shouldn't again be able to be cut off by the US, President Lai. Do you also agree that the relationship between Thailand and China is stronger?
Yes, especially after the Senator become the president since year 2000, since the year 21st century. And then the Thailand, especially after year 2009, and it started sinking into the series of the protests, anti-protest between the red and yellow shirts. And then we started to see that the new king, who already itself does not command the kind of respect among the Thailand society as his father. And the Thailand society also, a new, younger political forces emerges, but then only saw that every election it won has been declared through a technology of the existing establishment to nullify those developments. So that there's a great range of the anger, especially among the youth people in this Thai society. There's also this internal the issues that between U.S. and Thailand, that is about the Thailand democracy and also the Thailand's human rights problems.
Okay. Now, two recent incidents have highlighted the dangers to shipping and global trade through two of the world's choke points. Following the October 7th Hamas attack on Israel, Houthi rebels revived their attacks on commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz en route to or from Israel. The strikes were in retaliation for Israel's war in Gaza and have forced longer journeys around Africa. 2 years earlier, in March 2021, a 400-meter-long Taiwanese container ship got stuck sideways in the Suez Canal, one of the world's busiest maritime routes. The Ever Given blocked international trade for 6 days at an estimated cost of $5 to $6 billion US. The 190-kilometer-long Suez Canal was first inaugurated in 1869, and the main bulk of its construction took around 15 years to complete. Professor Su.
Yeah.
So now I believe the figures are a little bit different, but 50 to 60% of China's oil imports, these are 2023 figures, come from the Middle East through the Malacca Strait. What sort of lessons do you think Beijing has been learning from these incidents that we just discussed?
Well, these incidents have very important implications about the vulnerability of choke points in global shipping and the potential disruptions to China's trade and energy supplies. Well, I think the first lesson that Beijing is taking is about the supply chain vulnerability. Especially the Evergreen incident.
And what is it especially about the Malacca Strait, Professor, that makes it so vulnerable for China? How about the U.S. presence?
Yes, yeah, and also U.S. presence is another sort of threat to Chinese increasing dominance in the region. So basically, there are of course a sort of geopolitical rivalries between these two superpowers. Yeah, so that is why China is seeking so eagerly to find a solution to solve the Malacca Dilemma.
Okay, President Lai, how about the U.S. Logistics base that's in Singapore?
I believe that if we're talking about the Malacca Dilemma for China, definitely all the oil, energy, as well as a good number of the trade goods through the Malacca Strait, that China does not want this trade route to be controlled by the unfriendly forces, especially Singapore is famous for its closeness with the United States. And also along the whole Malacca Straits, you saw the Malaysia and Indonesia. Indonesia is a fierce Muslim state. Malaysia is a combination of Muslim as well as Anglophone countries. So China just cannot be ensured that the Indonesia as well as the Malaysia will be with China permanently on the friendly terms. So that's how China developed the so-called string of pearl strategies, in which they constructed several ports and also some of the inland routes of transportations along the Indian Oceans in order to probably China won't be able to completely bypass and get around the issue about the Malacca Strait, but at least they can ameliorate some of the problems.
Okay. I did want to say that the U.S. has a logistics base in Singapore. It hosts rotational deployments of littoral combat ships and also Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft, so it has a very strong presence in that area. Let's go on to the next question. On the other side of the Gulf of Thailand, Cambodia is constructing a $1.7 billion canal connecting the landlocked capital Phnom Penh directly to the Gulf. The Funan Techo Canal is 180 kilometers long, similar in length to the Suez Canal. It will be 51% funded by Cambodia and 49% by China as part of Xi's Belt and Road Initiative. If completed, the canal will grant Beijing access to the Gulf of Thailand directly from China's Tibetan province via the Mekong River. The canal is expected to cut shipping through Vietnam by 70% and boost Cambodian government revenue by $88 million. Professor Su,
yes.
At the breaking ground ceremony in August, the Cambodian PM, Hun Manet, said that we are showing a sense of patriotism and national unity. How ironic is that, given that it is also increasing dependency on China?
Well, when the PM said that, I don't think that is also bringing that issue to the public. I think what he really wants to convey is that finally Cambodia will not. It's not likely to rely on the excess of the exports and imports from Cambodia to the sea, through Vietnam. Yeah, because historically this route has been largely affected and controlled by Vietnam, because any important export and imports from Cambodia to overseas must go through the Mekong Delta region, which is controlled by Vietnam. So by constructing the Funan Techo Canal, Cambodia will gain direct access to Gulf of Thailand and bypass Vietnam. So that can enhance sovereignty over its shipping routes, and also it also represents a major political achievement, or the first political achievement for Hun Manet and his administration, showcasing his commitment to advancing Cambodia's development.
Okay. Yeah. President Lai, nearly 40% of Cambodia's $11 billion foreign debt is owed to China. Why is China investing in this canal project?
I think just as the Professor Su said, one goal is to lessen the possible Vietnam's influence in the Cambodia external trade.
How does that benefit China?
Well, the Vietnam and China always they have the differences, so that they lessen the Vietnam's influence definitely will increase the Chinese odds in the influence in the Cambodia. But also, I think that another unspoken implication is that the canal directly will connect with the Rim naval base in Vietnam, in Cambodia, and that a lot of rumor already said that, or alleged, the presence of the Chinese Navy ships in the Rim naval base, which is another naval base that can rival to the Cam Bay naval base in Vietnam.
That. So what impact would the Funan Techo Canal have on this on the Thai land bridge? Would it, for example, provide more demand for the Thai land bridge?
It might, but the premises is that the Canal bridge needs to be finished first before the need for the constructing the techno project that is there. But I think right now they are doing this simultaneously. The Cambodia project itself, they wanted to lessen the Vietnam's influence and increase Chinese influence in Cambodia. So they're going to do it whether the Canal bridge, land bridge, or the canal be constructed or not. But I will also say that Cambodia right now become the Chinese most important partners in the ASEAN. And so that anything that for China to operate and extend its influence in the whole ASEAN, especially in the continental ASEAN, that the Cambodia become a very important basis.
Okay, so let's go now on to Ream Naval Base. Before the Funan Techo Canal, China backed another major construction project in Cambodia, which was Ream Naval Base, also located on the Gulf of Thailand. It's around 100 kilometers away from Funan Techo Canal, which empties out into the Gulf in Kep province. In 2020, Cambodia demolished American buildings previously at the base. A year earlier, the Wall Street Journal reported of a secret deal for the Chinese military to be based at a Cambodian naval base for 30 years, according to US and allied officials. In 2022, China began rebuilding and dredging the site to enable deeper berthing. Since December 2023, satellite pictures show that Beijing was rotating 2 frigates or corvettes through the base throughout 2024. Cambodia has consistently denied this is a Chinese naval base, saying the country's constitution forbids foreign military basing on its soil. Professor Su, do you think that this is another one of China's, string of pearls bases, essentially in the Indo-Pacific?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, it is one of the very important location for its strategy of strings of pearls. Well, by string of pearls, it's a kind of metaphor that there are multiple important ports along the line of the Belt and Roads, like a strategy, right? And then each port, if they are connected together, it looks like a strings of pearls. And Ream's is clearly an important location, given that it has a very important strategic location in the Gulf of Thailand. So even though both governments deny that the port will be used for military purpose, but it is evident that Chinese naval force might have an increasing influence in that port.
President Lai, what effect does it have to have Chinese naval forces there, stationed there, for either the Malacca Strait or South China Sea?
Yeah, when you have the Chinese ship stationed there, whether that's a base or not, people are going to be concerned about whether the Chinese naval power will be able to project its influence in its region. And all the ship, especially Navy ship, passing through that area, definitely will be more concerned about the traces or the what's going to be the possible encounters.
What do you think about the view of some analysts that, if they can connect the essentially from China all the way down to Phnom Penh via the Mekong, and then now with the canal down to the Gulf of Thailand, that warships can actually come down there, especially if there's a base, the Ream Naval Base?
For the warship to sail in the river and all the way up, and I myself, I think that the warship basically will more of the seabound rather than from the river, especially to the upstreams. I do not think that you are going to construct a warship in those shipyards there and it's still downstream.
So what kind of ships could travel down? What is the reason for the connection all the way from the Mekong?
Because you are talking about the boat rather than a destroyer like a 3,000 tons. You are talking about probably at most several hundred tons, and that's the most that it will be there.
And let's talk about that being possibly a long-term solution with dredging.
The Mekong River politics is that China actually control the upstreams, so that in upstream they can control the water, and by having this canal, there's the possibility of the Vietnams. Traditionally, the Mekong rivers go to the Vietnam and then go to the sea. That part could be severely impacted due to the environmental degradations. And not only Vietnam, its agricultural products will be severely damaged due to this, but also how the whole agriculture farming and the composition within the continent of Southeast Asia could also be changed fundamentally if this canal is completed and China is successfully using the water politics to change the whole composition there. And then it probably could increase the Cambodia influence on the country that's on the upper streams of the Mekong River, such as Thailand and also the Myanmar.
We'll have to end it there. Thank you so much, President Lai I-chung and Su Yanping, for joining Taiwan Talks today. If you liked our show, please search for us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up and hit subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching our show today. Stay safe and see you next time.
In the face of adversity, the power of truth.
A roadmap for a just and open world, charted by the freest country in Asia.
Taipei for Taiwan Plus.
Taiwan Plus News, a voice of freedom in Asia.